Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto number 3, chapter number 33, titled Activities of Kapila. Text number 5. Tvam deha tantra prasamaya papmanam. Tvam deha tantra prasamaya papmanam. Nidde sabhajam cha vibho vibhutaye. Nidde sabhajam cha vibho vibhutaye. Yathavataras-tava sukaradaya. Yathavataras-tava sukaradaya. Tatha yamapi atmapato palabdaye. Tatha yamapi atmapato palabdaye. Tvam deha tantra prasamaya papmanam. Nidde sabhajam cha vibho vibhutaye. Yathavataras-tava sukaradaya. Tatha yamapi atmapato palabdaye. Tvam deha tantra prasamaya papmanam. Nidde sabhajam cha vibho vibhutaye. Yathavataras-tava sukaradaya. Tatha yamapi atmapato palabdaye. Tvam deha tantra prasamaya papmanam. Tatha yamapi atmapato palabdaye. Tvam deha tantra prasamaya papmanam. Nidde sabhajam cha vibho vibhutaye. Yathavataras-tava sukaradaya. Tatha yamapi atmapato palabdaye. Tvam deha tantra prasamaya papmanam. Nidde sabhajam cha vibho vibhutaye. Yathavataras-tava sukaradaya. Tatha yamapi atmapato palabdaye. Mataji's. Tvam deha tantra prasamaya papmanam. Nidesabhajam cha vibho vibhutaye Yatavataras tavasukaradayas Tatayamapi atmapato palabdhaye Tam dehatantra prasamaya papmanam Nidesabhajam cha vibho vibhutaye Yatavataras tavasukaradayas Tatayamapi atmapato palabdhaye. Word for word translation. Tvam, you, deha, this body, tantra, have assumed, prasamaya, for the diminution, papmanam, of sinful activities, nidesabhajam, of instructions in devotion, cha, and, vibho, O my Lord, vibhutaye, for the expansion, yatha, as, avatara, incarnations, tava, your, sukara adayaha, the boar and other forms, tata, so, I am this incarnation of Kapila. Api, surely, Atmapata, the path of self-realization. Upalabdhaye, in order to reveal. Translation purport by His Divine Grace, L.A.C. Bhaktivinoda Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. My dear Lord, you have assumed this body in order to diminish the sinful activities of the fallen and to enrich their knowledge in devotion and liberation. Since these sinful people are dependent on your direction, by your own will you assume incarnations as a boar and as other forms. Similarly, you have appeared in order to distribute transcendental knowledge to your dependents. Purport. In the previous verses, the general transcendental qualifications of the Supreme Personality Godhead were described. Now the specific purpose of the Lord's appearance is also described. By His different energies, He bestows different kinds of bodies upon the living entities, who are conditioned by the propensity to lord it over material nature. But in course of time, these living entities become so degraded that they need enlightenment. It is stated in Bhagavad Gita that whenever there are discrepancies in the discharge of the real purpose of this material existence, the Lord appears as an incarnation. The Lord's form as Kapila directs the fallen souls and enriches them with knowledge and devotion so that they may go back to Godhead. There are many incarnations of the Supreme Personality Godhead, like those of the boar, the fish, the tortoise, the half man, half lion. Lord Kapila is also one of the incarnations of Godhead. It is accepted herein that Lord Kapila Dev appeared on the surface of the earth to give transcendental knowledge to the misguided, conditioned souls. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmaitamena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Galadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktarinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So continuing our discussion from third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter number 33. Title Activities of Lord Kapila Dev. So this is the last chapter of Canto 3. And Lord Kapiladev has just finished his instructions to his mother, Devahuti. And now in this chapter, we're seeing Mother Devahuti offering prayers and offering her gratitude to Lord Kapiladev for all the instructions that he has given to her. And Mother Devahuti, at the start of this chapter, she explains with a lot of gratitude and devotion, she is thanking Lord Kapiladev, explaining that I'm so fortunate, because she is explaining that Lord Brahma, he took birth from the navel of Lord Vishnu. And she's saying Lord Brahma, he is the topmost living entity in this universe, and he's personally your own son. He manifested himself from your own navel. But although Lord Brahma is your son, although he's the first living entity in this universe, when he wants to see you, he can't just directly come and see you. Instead, what did he have to do? At the start of the universe, when he was born, he couldn't see anything. Wherever he looked, it was just darkness. And then just to take darshan of you, he had to do thousands and thousands of years of tapasya and penance. And only then did he get a chance to see you. But in my case, I'm so fortunate that, what to speak of seeing you, you personally came into my womb and you personally took birth as my son. And I can talk to you, I can see you, I can associate with you freely as much as I like. How is it that I'm so fortunate I can directly associate with you? How is it that you took birth from my womb? And on the other side you have Lord Brahma, the greatest of all living beings, who personally took birth from your own navel. But when he wants to see you, he can't just directly come and see you. Instead, he has to do thousands and thousands of years of tapasya. So like this, she puts forward this prayer to Lord Kapiladev at the start of this chapter. In this way, she offers gratitude unto the lotus feet of the Lord. So this is supposed to be one of the great qualities of a Vaishnava. It's said that a Vaishnava, he becomes attractive, a Vaishnava, he becomes beautiful to others based on the qualities, Vaishnava qualities he displays. That is said to be the ornaments of a Vaishnava. So materialists, they put different jewelries, clothes, perfume, so on and so forth, to look attractive or beautiful. But for devotees of the Lord, according to Shastra, Mahaprabhu explains, the ornaments of a Vaishnava are his Vaishnava qualities. That's what makes him very beautiful and attractive to others. So one of these qualities is that of being very grateful and displaying gratitude for what the Supreme Lord has given us and what Vaishnavas have given us, and any living entity in general. One should always be grateful. If anyone has helped us in our life, we should always be grateful. So like this, Mother Devahuti, she explains at the start of this chapter that on one hand we have Brahma, the topmost living entity. He's born directly from your navel, but he can't just come in and see you directly. He has to do many years of tapasya. Only then he gets to see you. But for me, you just came and just took birth from my womb, and I have you as my son. I can talk to you as much as I like. I can take your darshan. How fortunate am I? I am the most fortunate person in this universe. So like this, she's feeling very happy and very grateful. So we should also be a bit conscious and also develop this quality of gratitude and think of how many different ways Shri Shri Radha Gopinath have bestowed their mercy upon us. And this way be grateful for them. His Holiness Radha Maharaj, he explains that out of all the bad qualities one can display, the worst bad quality is that of ingratitude. If someone is ingrateful, that is the worst bad quality out of all the, out of the dictionary of bad qualities, that is said to be the most worst. So if we're ungrateful, if we're on the other side, then we're supposed to be the most, we have the most bad out of all bad qualities. So in this way, Mother Devahuti, she offers a gratitude at the start of this chapter. And now in today's verse, she's continuing her prayers or glorification of Lord Kapiladev by explaining the purpose for which the Supreme Lord descends. So it's very similar to verses in the Gita, like Yada Yada Hi Dharmasya Glani Bhavata Bharata Abhyutanam Hi Dharmasya Tadatman Sujamiham. That whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious principles or a rise in a religion, And then I descend to re-establish the principles of religion. So similar thing Mother Devahuti is explaining today, that, my dear Lord, whenever you descend to this material world, you come to annihilate the miscreants and to establish devotional service, to bestow transcendental knowledge, and this way deliver the fallen conditioned souls and take them back home, back to Godhead. So like this, she's offering a prayer in today's verse. So this is the mercy of the Supreme Lord. One time devotees, they asked Srila Prabhupada in Paris this question, that originally we were all there in the spiritual world, we were all enjoying with Krishna, then how did we fall down? Krishna is the most attractive person. How could we ever leave Krishna and come to this material world? How did this happen? Like this, devotees, they asked this question to Prabhupada. And Prabhupada, he gave a nice example to help us understand. How did we fall down from spiritual world and come to material world? Prabhupada said, just like, every day for lunch, we get rice, dal, sabji, and chapatis. And Prabhupada asked the devotees, do you all like rice, dal, sabji, and chapatis? And everyone said, yes, Prabhupada. We love rice, dal, sabji, and chapatis. This is the best. And Prabhupada then explains that, yes, we all love rice, dal, sabji, and chapatis. Every day we eat the same thing, and we're just happy and satisfied eating rice, dal, sabji, and chapatis. We don't need anything else. But one day, this thought might come into the mind, that what would it be like if I took some pasta today for lunch? Or what would it be like if I took some pizza? Just that thought comes into the mind. It's not that we don't like rice, dal, sabji, and chapatis, but just one day, this one thought comes into our mind. What would it be like if I took something else? Maybe some pizza or pasta. So Prabhupada says, same way, exact same thing happens in the spiritual world. We're there enjoying with Krishna. We love Krishna. We're fully happy and satisfied serving Krishna. We couldn't ask for anything better. But one day, just this thought comes into our mind. What would it be like if I was in the center? What would it be like if I was in the center and everyone else would serve me? So when that thought comes into our mind, what would it be like if I was the enjoyer, if I was the controller? Just as soon as that thought comes into our mind, at that moment we all fall down into the material world. So this whole material realm, all these material universes, this is the mercy of the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord, He has given all the living entities a tiny bit of independence. So Krishna, He doesn't want anyone to forcibly love Him. And when He sees someone having this small, tiny little desire, what would it be like if I was the center? And Krishna, He creates a whole, separate dimension for them to go and fulfill their desire. So Prabhupada says the purpose of this material universe is twofold. There's two reasons why Krishna has created all the material universes. Number one is to give living entities an opportunity to fulfill their desire of, being the controller, being the enjoyer, proprietor, so on and so forth. And the second reason is to help them realize their mistake, to help them understand that actually that's not possible and actually we can't be happy that way, and to rectify their consciousness and to bring them back home, back to Godhead. So in one sense, Prabhupada explains, this whole material universe, it's like a big hospital. So when someone goes a bit mental, crazy in his mind, then he's taken to the mental hospital. And then he's supposed to, the doctors, the nurses, they help him regain his proper consciousness. When his original consciousness is back, then he is dismissed from the hospital. He can go back to the real world outside. So same with this material world is for all sick people like us. We all have this mental disease of trying to be the enjoyer, trying to be the controller. And by purifying ourselves with the process of bhakti, when this disease is completely gone away, and when we're established in our original consciousness of Krishna consciousness, then we go back home, back to Godhead. I was just reading Dhruva Maharaj's section in 4th canto of Bhagavatam, and I was reading at the end of how he goes back home, back to Godhead. So it's given Dhruva Maharaj, he ruled for 36,000 years. This was during Satya Yuga, so during that time devotees or human beings, they lived for 100,000 years. So he rules for 36,000 years and then he takes Vanaprastha and then he goes to Badrika Ashram. And there in Badrika Ashram, he does more tapasya. Although he's already seen the Supreme Personality Godhead when he was 5 years old, still he thinks, I haven't done enough. Still he goes to Badrika ashram and he does more tapasya, more penance. So this is the nature of devotees. They never think they have done enough. They always think, I need to do more and more seva for Krishna. I need to do more and more service. It is said that there is three things we should be satisfied with, and three things we should never be satisfied with. So what are the three things we should be satisfied with all the time? Number one, we should be satisfied with whatever money that comes to us according to its own accord. So without over endeavor, whatever money naturally comes based on our qualifications, natural abilities, we should just be happy and satisfied with that. We shouldn't be greedy for more, over endeavor, and that way compromise on a spiritual life. So that's number one. We should be satisfied with whatever money comes of its own accord. Number two, a person should be satisfied with his spouse or with his husband or wife. Number three, one should be satisfied with whatever food that comes on his plate. So some days for morning we might just get simple khichdi, or most days we get simple khichdi. So we should be happy and satisfied. And other days we might get pizza, or today, yesterday was the day when Kartik Vrat finished, so many devotees were fasting. So today devotees in the kitchen, they are cooking a big feast because many of the pujaris were fasting for Kartik. So when we go upstairs after Bhagavatam class, there will be a big feast with many varieties. So some days you might get khichdi, other days you will get like 10, 12 different items, samosas, rice, puris, sabji, sweets. But according to Shastra, one should just be detached and be happy and satisfied with whatever comes. Someday might be simple khichdi, someday something more plain, someday there might be less salt, someday it might be a little spicy, someday, the chapatis might not be perfect, but whatever prasad that comes on its own accord, we just be detached and we just accept everything as Krishna's mercy. So Krishna explains in Gita, when good times come, then one shouldn't get too elated. And when bad times come, one shouldn't go into depression. One should be sthita prajna. One should be very steady and stable and very detached. And this way, Krishna says, one can please him very much. So these are three things one should always be satisfied with. One's wealth, one's spouse, and the food or the prasad that comes on one's plate. Then three things one should never be satisfied with. Number one should never be satisfied with his japa or with his chanting of the holy name or with his devotional service. One should always think that I'm not chanting well enough. I need to chant more attentively. One should always think I haven't chanted enough, I haven't sang enough, I haven't glorified Krishna enough. In this way, one should always continuously be dissatisfied with his japa and continuously try to improve his hearing and chanting of Krishna's holy names. And then number two, one should never be satisfied with one's study of the Shastras. One should never think I have read enough. One should never think I have heard enough Bhagavatam classes. One should never think I have, even though we finish all Prabhupada book, we should never think, okay, that's it, now we can relax. I've heard enough lectures. For the last 10 years, I've been hearing 1 hour a day. No, one should always be greedy and hungry to hear more and more about Krishna. One should be greedy and hungry to study more and more the Shastras. So that's the second thing one should never be satisfied with. And number three, third thing one should never be satisfied with is, number three escapes my mind. Anyone remember? Okay, I think if it comes to me, yes? Yeah, reading. Not so, something else. If it comes back to me later in class, I'll say. Kirtan. No. It'll come to me later on, hopefully. Krishna willing, then I will say. No. But, so that's two out of the three. Third one escapes my mind. But one is one's chanting or bhakti one's doing to the Supreme Lord, hearing and chanting by Krishna. Second one is study of the Shastras. And you can take service in general also. Any kind of service we're doing, we should never think we've done enough service for Krishna. We should always do more and more. So that's what Dhruva Maharaj is demonstrating here. He's personally seeing the Supreme Personality Godhead at the age of 5, and his whole life has been serving as a Raja Rishi, but still he thinks I haven't done enough service, and still he retires from family life, goes to Badrika Ashram, takes Vanapras, and he's continuing, doing more and more devotional service. So Prabhupada explains this is the nature of bhakti. Nature of devotee is such that he always thinks I haven't done enough, he always wants to do more and more for Krishna. So Dhruva Maharaj is there in Badrika Ashram doing more tapasya, more penance, and he's not alone, he's there with a group of sages and sadhus who are there in Badrika Ashram. So Prabhupada explains devotional service is never practiced alone, it's always practiced in the association of devotees. And Prabhupada says we need the association of devotees at all times. It's not that only initially in the beginning, when we're new devotee, we need association of devotees, and then when we become a great Mahabhagavat, then that's it, no need to associate with devotees, we can just be by ourselves. Now in one purport, where it's given in CC, either Mahaprabhu or Prabhupada is explaining the purport, is explained that even someone who has reached the level of Krishna Prem, the topmost level of devotional service, even someone for Krishna who is in the level of Krishna Prem, even he needs the association of devotees. So what to speak of us? So Dhruva Maharaj, he is there in Badrika Ashram doing seva in the association of sadhus in Badrika Ashram, and he's just absorbed in seva, and one day he sees something flying from the sky coming towards him, and this object is so beautiful and it's so effulgent. Like yesterday we had Purnima, the last day of Kartik is a Purnima, a full moon. So if we look up into the full moon, we see it's so beautiful, so nice and soothing to the eyes, so nice and bright and beautiful. Now imagine if that moon started coming down towards you. That's what Dhruva Maharaj was seeing. Airplane from the spiritual world, from Vaikuntha, was coming towards him. And the description given in Bhagavatam is that beautiful spiritual airplane that was coming from Vaikuntha was so beautiful, it was as if the full moon was descending down onto the earth. So you can imagine, you're staring at the full moon, and then suddenly you see it's coming towards you, descending down to planet Earth. So that's the description given of the Vimana coming towards him. So this beautiful spiritual Vimana starts descending to Dhruva Maharaj, towards Dhruva Maharaj, and then lands on the ground safely. So unlike our modern aircrafts, there's no recorded incident in history of spiritual airplanes crashing, so and so forth, mechanical failures, so and so forth. And so it lands, and then Dhruva Maharaj, he sees two beautiful effulgent personalities come out. One is Nanda and Sunanda. So these are two very close personal associates of Lord Vishnu, and they have same bodily features as Vishnu. They're dark blue in complexion, they have four arms, Sankha, Chakra, Gada, Padma, they also hold, and they come and they start addressing Dhruva Maharaj. And when Dhruva Maharaj, he sees them, he's completely astonished and he's bewildered and stunned. And he doesn't know what to do. He's like so bewildered, he just offers his obeisances and he starts chanting Hare Krishna. He starts glorifying them by glorifying Krishna's holy names. And Prabhupada in the purport, he explains that many times in bhakti, we'll come across a situation like this, that we don't know what to do. Just like Dhruva Maharaj is here, suddenly he sees a Vaikuntha airplane coming, he's just doing his bhajan, and one day, he just sees, just the airplane coming towards him, Nanda, Sunanda are there, beautiful, just like Vishnu, same bodily complexion, and he's so astonished, he doesn't know how to receive them, how to address them. Generally when a saintly guest comes, you're supposed to, offer them a place to sit, wash their feet, do arti to them. In this way, there's a whole receiving ceremony, for guests. But he's so bewildered and astonished, he doesn't know what to do. He just offers obeisances and just chants Hare Krishna. And Prabhupada writes in the purport that actually this is enough to satisfy the Supreme Lord and to satisfy Krishna's associates. One doesn't have to do anything more. If one comes across a situation where one doesn't know what to do, he can just chant Hare Krishna. And just by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna will be fully satisfied and Krishna's devotees will be fully satisfied. One doesn't need to do anything more. So my Guru Maharaj, he mentions similar point that he says that many times in Bhakti, we don't know what to do. We don't know whether I should chant extra rounds, should I read more, should I go to this devotee and talk to him, or should I do this, should I do that? We're confused. There's so many options, we don't know what to do. So my Guru Maharaj said, whenever that situation comes where you don't know what to do, you just pick up your bead bag and just chant Hare Krishna. That's the best thing you can do. So that's what Guru Maharaj does. And the associates, Lord Vishnu, they're fully satisfied with his chanting of Hare Krishna, his obeisances, and they glorify Guru Maharaj and they take Guru Maharaj on the spiritual airplane and they take him back to Godhead. Now, along the way, Prabhupada explains that just like we catch a train from one big location to another big location, let's say we catch a train from Sydney to Melbourne, and it's a direct train, no stoppage. It's just going to go directly straight from Sydney to Melbourne in one go. Now, as the train is going from Sydney to Melbourne, the train will pass many small different stops, small little towns along the way, that is in between Sydney and Melbourne. And these small towns are very insignificant. They'll just have a population of 10,000, 20,000, max 50,000. So just like the train from Sydney to Melbourne, you're going, but along the way you can get a nice quick look at all of these small stations that are coming along the way. In the same way Prabhupada explains, when the spiritual airplane comes and takes us back home, back to Godhead, we'll get to see all the different planetary systems that are there in this universe. So Prabhupada explains that as Dhruva Maharaj was going on this Vimana, he got to see all the different planetary systems. He got to see Indra, where Indra is. He got to see Surya Loka. He got to see Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, Brahmaloka. Like this, he got a whole, real life darshan of all the different planetary systems before he goes back home, back to Godhead. So in this way, Prabhupada explains that these modern material scientists, they're spending so many billions and billions of dollars of the citizens to try to go to the moon. But they fail. Even if they supposedly reach the moon, they can't stay there, they can't live there, they have to again come back down. But just look at devotees. Prabhupada is saying devotees, by the process of bhakti, they live a blissful life here in this material world, and when they go back home, back to Godhead, along the way they can see moon planet, Brahma planet, Maharloka planet, Janaloka planet, Gandharva Loka. They can see all the different planet systems and happily go back home, back to Godhead. So in this way, Prabhupada explains, how simple and blissful is the process of bhakti. Just by chanting Hare Krishna, reading Bhagavatam, associating with devotees, taking prasad, one can happily go back home, back to Godhead. So for this purpose, Krishna, he descends to take all the fallen conditioned souls back home, back to Godhead. So in Kali Yuga, where is the avatar of Krishna? Right? So that is the question. So it's given in Kali Yuga, Krishna, he descends as the holy name. Kali Kala Nama Rupa, Krishna avatar. So in Kali Yuga, Krishna, he descends as the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So it's given in previous ages, the demons, they used to live on different planets. So during Satya Yuga. Then comes Treta Yuga. In Treta Yuga, demons, they used to live in different countries. Then comes Dwapara Yuga. In Dwapara Yuga, there are demons in your own family. Just like Kamsa and Krishna, they're actually relatives. Kamsa is Krishna's uncle, but Kamsa is a demon. And Vasudeva Devaki, they are devotees. So in Satya Yuga, demons, they were in different planets. In Treta Yuga, demons, they were in different countries. In Dwapara Yuga, there were demons in your own family. Now it comes to Kali Yuga. In Kali Yuga, there's demons in our own heart. So in everyone's heart, the demons are inside. So in this age, if Krishna is going to come and kill demons with weapons, then he has to kill all of us. So then there won't be anyone left. So that's not going to work. So then Krishna has to adopt different means to kill the demons. So this is one of the means, by the chanting of the holy name. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he descended 500 years ago to establish the Yuga Dharma of the chanting of the holy name. And during Mahaprabhu's own time, he delivered so many most degraded fallen rascals like Jaga and Madai, who people thought would never, people could never even imagine, like, how can they become devotees? He's given Jaga and Madai, they're actually Jay and Vijay, coming to participate in Mahaprabhu's Leela. So their curse was that 3 births they have to take as demons. And they already finished those 3 births as demons, but still when they saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu coming, they wanted to take another birth, to participate in Mahaprabhu's pastime. So they came as Jaga and Madai to demonstrate Mahaprabhu's mercy. And it's given these 2 guys, Jaga and Madai, they were like the most degraded, most sinful anyone can ever imagine. It's given they were born in Brahmana families, and so being born in Brahmanas families, they had a whole library full of shastras, Just like previously we had a nice cupboard here in temple room, with all of Prabhupada's books, Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. So if you go to different devotees' houses, you'll see a nice library, full of all the shastras. So these Jaga and Madai, they were born in Brahmana family, so they had a nice bookshelf, full of all the different books. They had Bhagavatam, this 4 Vedas, Puranas, Upanishads, everything was there in their library, being born in Brahmana families. So they had nice access to all the shastras. But what did they used to do? They used to open up the books, the shastras, and they used to read the shastras, and they used to pick out all the things the shastras condemn as sinful, like stealing, kidnapping one's wife, drinking alcohol, eating meat. So they would just read, like when we read, we take notes, oh, this is a nice point by Prabhupada, or this is a nice detail, this is a nice sloka explaining. Just like yesterday, Mataji was quoting one verse from 12th canto, which explains how baby Krishna's ears, it resembles the flower of pomegranate trees. So that's first time I heard that, so I made note of that in my notebook. Okay, baby Krishna's ears, it resembles that of pomegranate flowers. So then I did a Google search. How does pomegranate flower look like? I only know how pomegranates look like. So you can do a Google search and you can see, okay, so this is how pomegranate flower looks like. So baby Krishna's ears is supposed to look like that. And then it's given, inside the ears you have different layers. So it's given those different layers inside the ear. That's compared to the different spirals on a conch shell. So if you look at the spirals, like if you look at the conch shell we have here, you see there's these spirals. So the different, things inside Krishna's ears, it resembles that of the spirals of a conch shell. So I made note of that in my notebook. So like that, when we read Shastra, nice points like this that strike us, about Krishna's beauty, Krishna's mercy, some nice detail of a pastime, we make note in our notebook, so we can remember and meditate on. So these 2 guys, Jaga and Madai, they also had the whole Veda base, they had the whole collection of books, and they used to read. But in their notebooks, they didn't make notes of these points. They made notes of what are all the sinful activities one can do and get punished for. Okay, meat eating. Okay, that's said to be very sinful activity. If anyone eats meat, they go to this hellish planet and they have to, they'll be eaten by these creatures. Okay, drinking alcohol, that's another sinful activity. The Shastras condemn. Okay, like this, they made a long list of sinful activities one can do, and they wrote that in their notebook, the notebook of Jaga and Madai. So like this, they had a long list of sinful activities to do. Then, what was step 2? Step 1 was, they made notes. Step 2 is what? That you have to apply it in your life, right? That's what we're taught. Okay, you hear class, and in class some nice points that comes to you, you make note of that, and later on, you read your notes again and you try to apply it in your life. Okay, today Prabhuji was saying in class that, when we chant Hare Krishna, we should chant attentively, not space out, focus on the sound. Okay, so tomorrow morning when I chant, I should focus and try and chant attentively. So Jaga and Madai, they were following the same process. Step 1 is to read the Shastras. Step 2, make notes, but they made notes of all the bad things they could do. Step 3, application, right? First is Shravanam, and then is Kirtanam. Kirtanam means when you actually apply it in your life. You speak what you've done, then you'll get smarana or memory. Okay? So then it was time for application, to apply what they have learned from the Shastras, what are all the bad things they learned in the Shastras. So then they used to go out and commit all of these sinful things they have taken note of in their notebook. Okay, one point in the list is meat eating. Okay, let's go eat meat. Next point, stealing from another's house. Okay, tick, done. Next point, stealing one's wife. Okay, done. Next point, doing this sinful activity. Okay, tick, done. Like this, they went through the whole list and they committed whatever sinful activities was possible to do, whatever sinful activities the Shastras condemned. They just went through the checklist and started doing all of them, one by one by one. And when Yamaraj and his assistants, they're watching from there. So it's given that we're never alone. There are many witnesses for everything that we're doing. And it's just given that just like Krishna, he's within our heart and he understands whatever we're doing and he understands what's going on in our mind and he understands our past, present and future. In the same way it's given that Krishna, he has empowered Yamaraj with that same potency. So just like Krishna, he can see what's going on in our mind. In the same way, Yamaraj, he can personally witness whatever actions we're doing. And Yamaraj, he can personally witness or see what thoughts are going on in our mind also. And just like Krishna can see past, present and future, in the same way, Yamaraj can also see our past, present and future. So Krishna has empowered Yamaraj with this potency. He's given other devotees, Krishna also empowers in a similar way, like Narad Muni. Krishna also gives similar kind of spiritual potency to great devotees of his, like Yamaraj and Narad Muni. So Yamaraj and his assistants, they're watching these guys, reading Shastras, making note of all sinful activities, and going out and doing the whole list of sinful activities. And they're keeping a track. They have their own notebook, and they have to keep a track of what are all the sinful activities different living entities are doing. And these guys, they did so many sinful activities that these Yamadutas, assistant Yamaraj, they just gave up. Their notebook was just like overflowing. And Yamaraj just couldn't believe these two guys, So there was never, in the history, someone like so degraded as them. But for these two guys, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu delivered. Nityananda Prabhu, he sees them one day, drunk, arguing with each other. And Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur, they were Sankirtan partners. Every day they used to go out for Sankirtan, for preaching. So Mahaprabhu said, okay, you two, you team up and you go out for Sankirtan. But there was one problem. Nityananda Prabhu, he was a bit of a avadut, and he would do things a bit out of the ordinary. And Haridas Thakur used to always, in a joking way, like a loving, friendly way, used to always complain to Nityananda Prabhu that because of you, we're always getting trouble, you're doing all crazy things. Like they used to go on, like we go door to door, book distribution, like that. They used to do door to door Sankirtan. They used to knock on different residents of Navadip's house, all over Bengal, and they used to do door to door Sankirtan. So Nityananda Prabhu, he used to knock on the door, then a person will come, either a man or a lady, and then Nityananda Prabhu will tell them, chant Hare Krishna, worship Krishna, give your life to Krishna, surrender unto Krishna. And then that person will be bewildered, like, who is this guy asking me to chant Hare Krishna, get a job, go away. So many persons Nityananda's used to talk to by knocking on the door. Many of them, they used to chastise Nityananda Prabhu. They used to give insults, tease Nityananda Prabhu. But it's given Nityananda Prabhu, he never used to get angry. He was so merciful, so compassionate, he never took any insults or bad words coming from people into his heart. Instead, he just repeatedly asked them to do the same thing. Please chant Hare Krishna, please worship Krishna. And when certain persons, they'll be very arrogant and very rude, and they wouldn't listen to Nityananda Prabhu. And Nityananda Prabhu, he wouldn't give up. He wouldn't take no for an answer. So he was like so determined to make people into devotees that if someone didn't listen to him and just continued, insulting him or joking, teasing him, then he used to go into the house and just start rolling on the floor and just acting like a complete madman. And that person in the house, he'll be like so astonished, he doesn't know what to do, or she doesn't know what to do, how to stop this crazy guy. Just a random guy has come into my house telling me to chant Hare Krishna and just rolling on the ground. Then finally they'll submit and say, okay, I'll chant Hare Krishna. And when they say, I'll chant Hare Krishna, then Nityananda Prabhu will go into ecstasy. Oh, yes, finally he's chanted Hare Krishna, he's chanted Hare Krishna. Now his life is perfect. Oh, now her life is perfect. Then he used to go to ecstasy, then he will go next door. And then again knock. And then same drama like this. So like this he used to go door to door. And many times he used to meet many rowdy people. And like this he was kind of like young, full of energy. Haridas Thakur was a bit older. So sometimes Haridas Thakur used to find a bit of trouble keeping up with Nityananda Prabhu. So jokingly, out of friendship, he used to jokingly complain, against Nityananda Prabhu, that you're always getting us in trouble. Why did Mahaprabhu put me with you? I wish I had another Sankirtan partner, someone who's a bit more normal. So, true to Nityananda Prabhu's nature, one day when he sees these two guys, Jaga and Madai, immediately he thinks, if I make these two guys a devotee, if somehow or other these two guys become devotees, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's glories will be expanded even more. So this is the mood of a devotee. He's always thinking, how can I make Krishna's glories expand even more and more? Our mood is, how can I expand my glories more and more? How can more and more devotees realize about my glories, about my good qualities? So that is the nature of conditioned soul, which is all of us. But a real devotee, his consciousness is not about himself, his consciousness is about the Lord. How can I make the Supreme Lord more famous? How can I make the Supreme Lord's glories expand more and more? So when Nityananda Prabhu, he sees these two drunkards on the streets, immediately he thinks, if somehow or other these two guys become devotees, that's it. Mahaprabhu will be like so famous, everyone will know about Mahaprabhu, and everyone will just take shelter of Mahaprabhu and everyone will take to bhakti. And he asks the people around, like, who are these two guys, drunk? And then everyone starts talking about the glories of Jaga and Madai, all the different things they're doing. And when Nityananda Prabhu, he hears about this, when he hears about how degraded and crazy and fallen these two guys are, his eyes just go big. And then he thinks like, this is it, this is the perfect opportunity. We have to make these two guys into devotees. And then he just can't resist, he just goes for it. He just goes straight to Jaga and Madai, no fear, nothing. He just goes straight up. And then he tells them, please, my dear sirs, please chant Hare Krishna. And then these two guys, they're drunk, they just look at him like, who is this guy, telling us to chant Hare Krishna, and they start chasing him. Then Nityananda Prabhu starts running away. Haridas Thakur is there with Nityananda Prabhu, he's also running away. And then like this, they're running, then finally they escape. And then Haridas Thakur, again, he complains to Nityananda Prabhu that because of you, we're always getting in trouble like this, I wish, you could be more sane, I wish someone else was my Sankirtan partner. Like that, he used to jokingly tease Nityananda Prabhu. Next day, again, Nityananda Prabhu, same thing. He sees them, again he goes to try to deliver them, try to make them devotees. This time, who was it, Jagai or Madai, who hit Nityananda Prabhu on the head? One of them, I forgot who exactly. Okay, one of them, they hit Nityananda Prabhu on the head, and then blood starts coming out. Okay, so Jagai is the one who hit Nityananda Prabhu on the head, and then blood starts coming out from the head of Nityananda Prabhu, and news of this goes to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu hears this, he becomes like furious like anything. He becomes so angry. Immediately he comes on the scene. And this Jagai, he was about to hit Nityananda Prabhu again for a second time. And then Madai, his friend, he stops Jagai from hitting Nityananda Prabhu again. And at this time Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes on this scene and he calls out Sudarshan. And then Sudarshan Chakra comes. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is about to release his Sudarshan Chakra to kill these two rascals, Jagai and Madai. And at this time, Nityananda Prabhu, he falls down on the feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he begs Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that, my Lord, this is not the way to kill the demons in this day and age. In this day and age, there is demons in everyone's heart. So if you kill them, you have to kill everyone else on the planet. And that's not possible, that's not practical. So this is not the way in this day and age. You please kill the demons in their heart. So like this, on behalf of these two fallen guys, Jagai and Madai, Nityananda Prabhu, he begs and pleads on their behalf. And then he says, Madai, actually he is good. This other guy, he was about to hit me for a second time, but Madai stopped him. And he protected me. And then Mahaprabhu then calms down. Really? He stopped the guy from attacking you again? And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu becomes happy, and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives his mercy to Madai and makes him to a devotee. And then Jagai says that whatever sinful things he did, I also did. Me and him are partners in crime. We've been together our whole life. So if you make him devotee, you should also make me into a devotee also. Otherwise it's not fair. I also surrender unto your lotus feet. Please, you have to give me your mercy also. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructs, okay, I will give you my mercy, but you have to promise you won't commit sin again. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives this one condition. From now on, don't commit any more sinful activities, but be nice devotees. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraces Jagai also. And it's given when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraces Jagai and Madai, his beautiful golden complexion becomes black in color. So it's given Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's complexion is same as Srimati Radharani, it's molten gold in color. But when Mahaprabhu embraces these two rascals, then